in this video, I'm gonna show you how we generate north of $3 million in DTC revenue for the account that we manage. I'll show you the whole system, the whole strategy across what platforms that we use to generate revenue, what strategy that we use across each platform, what emails that we use, what flows that we use within the email. I'll show you all of it so you can also implement the same thing for your brand. Literally copy and paste. So make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I got another thing special for you guys. All right, so without further ado, let's jump straight into it. My name is Frank Kinney. I'm the head of growth and CEO at Lion Media, which is a performance marketing agency. Now, let's jump straight into it. So as you can see on my Shopify, as you can see on my screen over here, I'm sharing our Shopify screen just to show you that what I'm saying is the actual truth, right? So if you look at the gross sales for this account across last year, we did $3.1 million in gross sales, right? Now, obviously, when you break that down, you subtract like all the discounts and like the returns, that's $2.5 million in revenue, which is still substantial, right? And you can see kind of like the growth curve over here, right? Again, the strategy that I'm about to show you guys in this video can apply to your brand as well, right? This works across any brands, any industry, and any category. Okay, so first, before I jump into like the specific platforms and talk about the strategy, I want to show you the system, right? Because the system is really like the most important thing because quite frankly, a lot of brands, because we audit a lot of Meta accounts, we audit a lot of brands across like different categories. One of the things that they typically kind of mess up is just they run their accounts very isolated. Right, what that means is like they have like one meta campaign, like instant traffic to like a homepage, or maybe even a specific collection page, right? And like that's about it. They don't have any like follow-up emails. They don't have any like SMS things. Like they don't have nothing, right? And so again, what I want to do is like show our whole system and how we do this. Okay, so number one thing. So this is a 5-step system. Right, as you can see, we have traffic, which is the number one thing within the system. You need to have like a traffic source, right? You need to have a place where you send that traffic to, which is the landing page, right? And then you also need to be able to convert that traffic, right? And then be able to increase the average order value of the people that actually convert, right? Which is step number 3 over here. And then on step number 4, you also have like retention, right? So this is where you think about how do you get the people that have purchased our product to come back and purchase again. And then finally, you have step number 5, because you have to think about this. 90+% of the people that come to your website or to your landing page are not going to convert, right? And so you have to think about, okay, so like, how do I convert those 90% of the people that come to the landing page, right? Well, that's what step number 5 is, to where you got to have essentially like a recovery loop system to where you can convert the people that come to your landing page or to your website and show interest but never actually convert for whatever the reason. Like, and there's a host of different reasons why, and then we can talk more about that here later, right? So this is talking about you want to have like your cart abandonment cart, your welcome flow, your browser abandonment, your win back, re-engagement, and you also want to have SMS as well, right? In which you can communicate to the people that don't convert, right, guys? So this is the system. So let me walk you through that, right? So as I mentioned, you have Meta, you have like your traffic source, and we primarily use Meta and Google, right? In some account, Meta more than Google, and in some accounts, Google more than Meta, right? And then the landing page, right? This is a very important step because, as I mentioned before, most brands, right, when they send traffic to a homepage or even a product page, right? And we've tested all of this to where we send traffic to a collection page, a product page, an opt-in page to where we can collect email, and a blog / advertorial or listicle page, right? And I tell you, and I kid you not, the ones that converts the most, I'm talking about 3 to 5+% conversion rate is the listicle and advertorial page. Because you have to think about this because most of the people, because when you're growing a brand, right, you want to find new people who never heard about your brand before to become customers, right? Once the prospect is educated on the listicle and is educated on the problem, right, you tell them the specific problems that they're having, you tell them the reason why they're experiencing that problem, right? And then you transition to positioning, this is the solution, which is our product to solve the specific problem, right? It breaks a lot of that selling friction. Now you have bought in the customer. Now all you have to do is get them, is convert them, right? And on that listicle advertorial page, you have a call to action, right? And then once they click on that, they go to the checkout page and they purchase the product. But it doesn't stop there because some people do this, but then they stop when the customer has purchased the product one time. It doesn't stop there. the customer purchases the product, right? And let me show you an example of this for a brand that we've done this very successfully for, right? So this is the listicle page, right? You can see 7 reasons why women over 40 are finally reclaiming their intimate life, right? So this is, when you read this, it's not something that's trying to sell the customer. It's trying to provide value, right? Doctors are calling it the intimate gap, and growing numbers of women are closing it without hormones, prescription, or embarrassing conversation, right? Because this is talking about the problem that the consumer is having with the specific listicle page, right? And then it goes on to talk about the 7 steps. Hormonal change, 1, standard lubricants, 2, nano emulsified hemp oil, 3, and then the results that happen, 4. And then it just goes on and on, and it's just providing value, and it shows proof point of people talking about how this has been successful for them, right? And then the call to action is, yes, try release risk-free, and then it takes them to the product page, right? And that's the first step of that landing page, right? Going back over here is, yes, now that we bring the customer to the checkout page, right? So let me go back and show you that example. This is the product page. How you structure this is very important. Now you can see that we can lead with like 1 bottle of that product, sell it at $54, or we can lead with 2 bottles, right? And the reason why most people are going to choose the 2 bottles because it comes with a free product, an additional free product, right? And again, most people do go with the 2 bottles, and this is at $102. It increases that average order value for that customer, right? And you have to think about this too. Like, you're gonna have to pay for acquisition costs, right? And the higher you can increase your AOV, right? Essentially, like the more margin that is for you. At the end of the day, when you have to subtract like your shipping costs, like the cost of goods sold, in addition to like the CAC. At the end of the day, if you can increase the average order value of your product, it's just more money that you get to keep in your pocket, or you can use that, to take care of like your operational expenses, right? And so, going back again over here, so you've already sold the product to the customer. So what's next? Don't just stop there, but like offer them an additional product for them to purchase. As soon as they've already entered like their credit card information, like, hey, here's an additional product that you can purchase that accommodates that same product that they already purchased. There's 2 ways that you can do this. You can give them you can give them 2 like products, or you can give them the exact same products and then just offer it an additional discount, or you can give them a supplementary product, right, that goes hand in hand with that same product that they just purchased, right? Again, it just further increases the average order value. You make more money from the same customers, right? And then don't stop there. So the customer already purchased the product, they're gonna try the product, and they're gonna love the product, right? And then what happens after that? You don't stop there. A week later, you check in with them, like, hey, how did you like your product? Here is a 20% discount for your next purchase. Or maybe here's an additional product that you can also add to further supplement the product that they already purchased. Like, oh, this is really interesting, 25% off, they purchased that product. And the higher the discount, the more conversion rate you're gonna see on this, right? And so once you've captured their email, regardless if they don't purchase, you can continue to communicate with them through email or through SMS. So typically, this is how the flow goes. For example, if you run a fashion company, right, or an apparel brand, right, you have like t-shirts, you have like shorts, you have like joggers, you have pants, or you may like have shoes, socks, like whatever, right? So you can have a prospecting campaign targeting just broad United States. And you can also have an interest audience targeting people who are interested in fashion, who are interested in those specific category of the products that you sell, right? So those are 2 other audiences that you can do. And one of them, you can do a lookalike audience based upon, if you have historical data, a lookalike audience, 1% of people who have already purchased your product. Keep in mind, you need at least 1,000 people within that database for Meta to be able to accept that, right? So I'm just showing you again the structure of how we build ad accounts. But as you can see, we do have multiple campaigns for these brands that we've tested across like different seasons, right? You have different seasons. And so for those different seasons, you want to have specific campaigns that you run for those seasons, like you have like Black Friday, Cyber Monday that do come up. You have like Christmas sales that also do come up. You have like Valentine's, right? So with all these holidays, right, you want to make sure you can have different campaigns to promote your product and with a sale, right? And so that's what a lot of what these different campaigns are, right? And so that's really what generates like the 4.42 return on ad spend, right? And the revenue that you see over here, right? On Google, let me switch over to Google now. So on Google, you can see that we spent, let's look at the spend. We spent $293,000 in, $293,000 across Google, right? And to see the revenue, so conversion value, this is the revenue, $1.4 million in sales generated. At a what's the ROAS on this? Let's look at what the ROAS on this is. And so if we see the conversion value divided by cost, that's the ROAS. It's a 4.81 return on ad spend, right? Again, most brands would kill for results like this, right? And so when a consumer is typing in specific queries to those products, it can properly show. It could properly show on their on Google essentially, right? So with Google again, is because with PMax they've automated a lot of this stuff, right? You just need to make sure the biggest thing, you just need to make sure that you have a clean product catalog in Google Merchant Center, so Google can clearly, right, index your products and show it to the consumers when they search out for keywords associated with your product, right? And so the specific, somewhat like the more detailed strategy that we run with Google is like, we'll have a PMax campaign running, right? And if we have different product category, right? Again, if you're a fashion brand, you can have one PMax campaign running, right? And then within that PMax campaign, you can have separate ad groups for the different category, right? And the reason why you want to do this is so that, you can essentially have the ad that you're actually using is specifically for those products, right? So the reason why you have branded campaign essentially play defense, depending on how big or large your brand is essentially play defense so that like your competitors are not bidding on your brand term and winning on that. So that's really the main reason why you want to have a brand campaign, right? And so that's a lot of the Google strategy that we have. And so for specific, holidays, yes, you can have separate PMax campaigns specifically for those, right? And so that strategy is what generates us $1.4 million in Google, right? Now we got to talk about the next thing, right? So we talked about the acquisition. We talked about the acquisition engine, right? Now what about the retention engine, which is like for what I mentioned, email? Because we generate a lot of revenue from email. And the good thing with email is that you no longer have to pay to acquire or to communicate with those customers as you do with Meta and with Google, right? You can communicate to these people as much as you want, so long as obviously you have their information, which is email or phone number, right? And as you can see, we've generated $471,000 in revenue for this brand. So we do capture a large percentage of revenue from email, right? And you can just see the increase, right, from what this brand was previously doing when we started implementing a lot of our strategy, right? And with email, is for what I mentioned before, right? You want to have your welcome flows, right? Your welcome flows are automated, right? And it's event-based, based upon what the individual did on the website. And just to show you an example of some of the campaigns that we ran for this specific brand, right? We send campaigns, like at least 3 to 4 campaigns every single week. And you can see that some campaigns generate more revenue than the others, right? And a lot of these campaigns are, we're launching a sale, there's a restock, or there is there's a new product launch, right? And so, like for someone like the sale campaign, we launched like $2,000 just from this one campaign, $1,600 just from this one campaign. Some of these campaigns, a couple $100 here and there, $1,500 over here, right? And so this is also what drives a lot of the revenue that you guys just saw previously over here, guys. And so, guys, that's a lot of the strategy that we run. You literally can copy and paste this, right? And I do want to make you guys an offer if you guys made it this far to the end of the video, right? You may be watching this and you may be like, this is overwhelming. This is a lot of different things. This is just like a lot of work, right? A lot of what you can do is you can work directly with us, want to implement this within your account, right? So we can walk you hand in hand. It's like, hey, this is how you implement this, right? The other option is you can have us implement this for you, right? So there's 2 options here in which you can take action on, right? You can have us hold your hand and show you how to implement this, right? Or you can have us implement this for you. Like you give us access to your account and then we go in and implement our whole system, or we teach you our system in which you can implement on your own, right? If any of those is something that you want to proceed with, please click the link somewhere in this video below, or just get in contact with us at info@lionmediallc.com. So that's our email, info@lionmediallc.com, or you can go on our website and fill out a form at lionmediaad.com. Again, that is lionmediaad.com. Or again, it's somewhere in this video, there's going to be a link for you guys to click and to take action on what I just offered you guys. Guys, again, if you made it this far in this video, thank you, and I will see you guys soon.